Kamilah was the jewel of her small island village, where life was simple, warm, and filled with the scent of the sea. Her radiant beauty made her the talk of the town, with men young and old vying for her attention. But Kamilah wasn't just admired for her looks. She was admired for her kindness and hard-working nature, which earned her the respect of everyone. Living with her grandmother, Ma Pearl, she spent her days tending to their stall at the bustling village market, selling fruits and occasionally handmade crafts. Life on the island was idyllic, with days spent under the golden sun and nights filled with laughter and the soothing sound of waves crashing against the shore. Kamilah loved the predictability of her life. The morning rush at the market, the children's laughter as they played in the streets, and the quiet evenings spent listening to Ma Pearl's stories about resilience and faith. Though many men in the village tried to win her heart, Kamilah remained focused on her dreams of a better life beyond the shores of her home. Among her admirers was Noah, a humble fisherman who had loved her since childhood. But Kamilah only saw him as a friend, her heart yearning for something bigger, something she couldn't quite name. One day, Lennox arrived. He was unlike anyone the village had ever seen. A strikingly handsome man with a smooth voice and an air of sophistication. His polished appearance and confident demeanor immediately set him apart. Lennox had returned to the island to visit his ailing mother, Aunt Claudine. But it was clear he had other intentions as soon as he laid eyes on Kamilah. Lennox was relentless in his pursuit of Kamilah. He showed up daily at the market, buying fruits he didn't need just to talk to her. One day, as he handed her a basket of mangoes, he said, "You have the kind of beauty that could stop the world." Kamilah looked away, her cheeks warm with embarrassment. Her grandmother always warned her about smooth-talking men, but Lennox was different. He didn't just offer compliments. He promised a future. "You deserve so much more than this, Kamilah," he said one evening as they walked along the shore. His voice was soft, almost reverent. "I want to give you the world." "But this is my world, Lennox," she replied, hesitant. "What if I leave and lose myself?" "You'll never lose yourself," he assured her, gently taking her hand. "You'll always have me. I'll take care of you." Despite Ma Pearl's reservations, Kamilah agreed to marry Lennox. Their wedding was a grand affair, with music, dancing, and a feast that lit up the entire village. As the night drew to a close, Ma Pearl pulled her aside and whispered, "Marriage isn't just happiness, child. It's work. Remember your strength, always." After the wedding, Lennox returned to America to begin the U.S. spouse sponsorship process for Kamilah's green card. Months passed as Kamilah waited in quiet anticipation. Lennox sent her regular updates and told her over the phone, "You'll need to be ready for a different world. No more simple dresses, Kamilah. I'll take care of you, but you must represent us well." When the approval finally came, Kamilah boarded her first international flight alone, clutching her immigration paperwork and a small suitcase. At the airport, Ma Pearl held her hand tightly. "Don't lose yourself, child. Remember, the world outside is not like our little island." Arriving in America, Kamilah was both awestruck and overwhelmed. Lennox picked her up in a sleek car and drove her to their new home, a grand house in an affluent neighborhood. But instead of feeling welcomed, Kamilah felt the chill of loneliness. The house was cold and empty, more like a museum than a home. Within several months, Lennox's warmth and affection faded. His critiques began subtly, but grew harsher with time. One evening, as she served dinner, he exploded when she forgot to include his favorite sauce. "Can't you do anything right?" he yelled, slamming his fork down. Kamilah froze, her eyes wide with shock. "Lennox, it's just sauce. I can get it. Don't bother," he said coldly, pushing his plate away. "I have enough stress at work without dealing with this nonsense." It didn't stop there. Lennox's business troubles began to spill over into their lives. He spent late nights at the office and came home angry and bitter. His charm turned into manipulation, and his frustration boiled into control. He began monitoring her phone calls, deciding what she could wear, and forbidding her from leaving the house alone. He critiques her every move. "This isn't the island, Kamilah," he snapped when she tried to decorate the living room with colorful crafts from home. "We need to keep things classy here." When Kamilah tried to talk to him, he dismissed her. "Do you know what I've sacrificed for you?" He spat one night. "I brought you here, gave you this life, and all you do is complain." One day, Kamilah gathered the courage to confide in him about her loneliness. "Lennox, I feel so isolated. I have no friends here, no one to talk to," she said softly, tears brimming in her eyes. He scoffed. "Friends? You're too naive, Kamilah. People will take advantage of you. I'm the only one who truly cares about you." The words stung, but deeper than that was the realization. She was a prisoner in her own life. To ensure her obedience, Lennox locked her in a room during the day. "For your safety," he claimed, though Kamilah knew better. At night, when Lennox was home, her fear grew tenfold. His mood swings kept her on edge, and his temper could flare with the slightest provocation. She was living in a constant state of dread, and her once vivid spirit was fading into shadows. One evening, while he was taking a shower, Kamilah noticed a series of flirtatious and intimate messages on his phone from another woman. Heartbroken and furious, she confronted him the following day. "Who is she, Lennox?" she demanded, holding up his phone. He didn't deny it. Instead, he laughed bitterly. "You think you're the only woman I've ever promised the world to. Grow up, Kamilah. This is how life works." Her humiliation deepened when Lennox brought his many mistresses to the home. She endured the ultimate betrayal, watching the man she once loved flaunt his infidelity. One evening, she overheard him on the phone whispering sweet and explicit words to another woman. "Are you going to cry, Kamilah?" he mocked when he caught her glance. "You're embarrassing yourself. Just do what you're told." Kamilah didn't respond. She lowered her head, biting back the tears that threatened to spill. But inside, a storm brewed. She was beginning to understand that Lennox didn't just want control. He wanted to break her completely. The days that followed were filled with despair. Kamilah's once bright spirit was now dimmed, and she bore not only the emotional scars of Lennox's cruelty, but also the physical ones. A bruise on her arm from where he had grabbed her too hard, a lingering ache in her ribs from being pushed in a fit of rage. Her body carried the evidence of his monstrous nature. Staring at her reflection in the mirror one day, she barely recognized the woman looking back. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Who have I become?" She thought of Ma Pearl's words, "Never let the world dim your light." Something shifted in Kamilah. The fire that Lennox had tried to extinguish flickered back to life. She realized that while he had broken her in many ways, her spirit was still hers to reclaim. With trembling hands, she reached out to a local women's shelter she found online. Speaking to someone who understood her pain gave her strength. For the first time in months, Kamilah felt a glimmer of hope. When Lennox left for a business trip, Kamilah packed a small bag and walked out the door. At the shelter, she was greeted by a kind social worker who welcomed her with warmth and compassion. The social worker provided her with the resources she needed to get back on her feet, including a safe place to stay and the legal support to help untangle the mess Lennox had created. One of the most life-changing moments came when Kamilah met with a therapist. In the quiet, safe space of their sessions, she spoke openly about her time living in fear of Lennox. She described how he had taken her passport and immigration paperwork and locked it in a safe, leaving her with no money, no identification, and no way to escape. She admitted to feeling completely helpless and trapped, as though she would never be free of his grasp. The therapist listened patiently and reassured her. "You've already taken the first step by coming here, Kamilah," the therapist said gently. "It will take time, but the social workers here will help you. You don't have to do this alone. Be patient with yourself and the process." For several months, Kamilah stayed at the shelter, receiving therapy and slowly rebuilding her confidence. Yet, she still lived in fear that Lennox would find her, drag her back to his house, and continue his reign of terror. Every night she wondered if she had done enough to stay hidden. One day, after much hesitation, Kamilah called her grandmother. Hearing Ma Pearl's voice brought a flood of tears. "Grandma," Kamilah sobbed, "I'm so sorry. I'm so scared. I don't know how to fix this." Ma Pearl's voice was firm, but loving. "Child, you come home. You're not alone in this. You'll be safe here. Lennox has no power over you in this village. His mother has passed, and no one here will let him near you. You're my blood, and this is where you belong." With the help of the shelter's social workers, Kamilah began the process of regaining her stolen documents. They connected her with legal aid who helped secure replacements for her passport and immigration papers. Slowly, the pieces of her life began to come together. Even as she prepared to leave, Kamilah couldn't shake the fear of what might happen if Lennox found out. The social workers reassured her that they had taken every precaution to protect her. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to believe that freedom was possible. Finally, with her documents restored and a plane ticket in hand, Kamilah prepared to return to the island, the place where her light had first shone brightly and where she knew it could shine again. Months later, Kamilah returned to her island. The village welcomed her back with open arms, and Ma Pearl cried tears of joy when she saw her granddaughter. "You've been through the fire, child," Ma Pearl said, holding her close, "but you've come out stronger." Kamilah was no longer the naive young lady who had left. She was a survivor, and she vowed to use her story to inspire others. She began teaching women in the village about self-worth and independence, sharing her story to inspire others. Did Kamilah's story inspire you? What lessons did you learn from her journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more powerful stories like this one. Kamilah's story, inspired by true events, imparts vital lessons about self-worth and resilience in the face of adversity. The foremost lesson is to never allow another person to diminish your worth. Lennox's charm may have initially disguised his controlling behavior, but it's essential to recognize that true love uplifts and empowers. It doesn't tear you down or manipulate you. Another significant takeaway is that no matter the challenges you face in a relationship, there is always a way out. Even in the most daunting circumstances, resources and support systems are available to help you find a path to safety and healing. Kamilah's courage and determination exemplify how one can reclaim their life, and it's a powerful reminder that seeking help is a brave and essential step. Domestic violence is a serious issue that affects individuals from all walks of life. It can manifest in various forms, including physical, emotional, psychological, and financial abuse. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, it's crucial to reach out for assistance. Numerous resources are available, including hotlines, shelters, and counseling services. In the US, the National Domestic Violence Hotline Advocates are available at 1-800-79-9-SAFE and through online chatting at www.thehotline.org. All calls are free and confidential. Talking to someone you trust about your situation can also provide emotional relief and practical advice. Organizations dedicated to helping victims of domestic violence can offer vital support and guidance. Remember, no one should suffer in silence, and there is always hope for a better tomorrow. Seeking help and support is a courageous step towards healing and reclaiming your life.